Chubb falls all the way down for you, point to the name for me. I mean,
oh God, yeah, he's all the way at running back 18.
So he is at tier 5 at running back 18. That is Nick Chubb. That is the consensus, I'd say, first round running back in most leagues.
Running back, bottom running back 1.
Because I think you're too low on him.
All right, so this is something I've been saying throughout the season. I do 100% believe that Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are going to be in a running back by committee. All right, and I have the Cleveland Browns producing a top 5 rushing total of any team in the NFL. So I'm projecting a lot of rushing yards.
You're saying yards are there.
Yeah, I'm projecting yards. I'm projecting touchdowns, but I am splitting the carries pretty much even. I actually gave Nick Chubb the leg up a little bit on carries and touchdowns, but I split it pretty close to right down the middle. So if you look on the screen, you'll see Nick Chubb at 18 and Kareem Hunt at 20.
Yeah.
That's because Kareem Hunt also comes with a little bit higher pass catching value, and this is PPR. That's what pushed him into that same tier 5. Yeah, look, I'm not getting Nick Chubb anywhere in my leagues, and I hate saying that. This is a guy who rushed for 1,500 yards last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was an absolute monster. He's a great player coming out of college. He was highly touted, and he's one of the best running backs in the league. But I do believe that the Browns are going to have a running back by committee. And look, I could be wrong on that, but that's what I've been saying throughout the whole offseason. So that's,
I like that. If you're going to say it, stick to your guns. Don't be like, that's 50-50, but Nick Chubb's my number 3 running back.
Exactly. That is the production that I had to give him based on the thing that I've been saying all year. Yeah, if I made this list, if I just wrote this list down and named the top fantasy running backs, yeah, Nick Chubb would probably be in the top 12. But based on my predictions, based on the production I expect them to have, yeah, I gave him about 700-800 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns, and I think another 300 yards through the air. But it just wasn't enough to get him anywhere higher than tier 5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close to 50-50 because Kareem Hunt is a very talented back, and they are going to use him. The fresh legs thing goes a long way. I think it more in my head leans towards like Chubb getting 1,200, Kareem maybe right next to 800-ish, which could put Chubb up into the middle of the second round running back, which is where I have him personally. I still think it's low. I understand the justification for it because of the split, the carries and whatnot.
And I'm actually going back just to look at the actual market share that I gave him. I gave Nick Chubb 46% of the rushing yards, and I gave Kareem Hunt 37%. Mm-hmm. I gave Nick Chubb 48% of the rushing touchdowns, and Kareem Hunt 33%. That's just the way it works. So Nick Chubb is outpacing Kareem Hunt a good bit on the ground, but then I gave Kareem Hunt the leg up in the receiving game because I do think that's where he makes his money, really. Yeah, look, Kareem Hunt outpaced Nick Chubb in receptions and receiving yards. Pretty close. It was close, but he did outpace him in both those categories with half the games played because he was suspended for the first 8 games. That says something to me. So yeah, if I'm looking at value for the Browns running back room, yeah, I'm going Kareem Hunt in the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah,
every day over Nick Chubb in the 1st or 2nd. That's just my value.
So the guy that's getting overdrafted.
Yeah, and again, I've been saying it all year. We've clipped it out and put it on TikTok. I know I've been bold in saying that. I know I've gotten a lot of flack for saying that, but that's just one of those things where I'm gonna stick to my guns on that and see if I'm wrong.
Stick to him, then we'll see at the end of the year.
Yep,
everyone's got him. And you have Raheem Mostert, a guy who is held in high regard in the 4th and 5th round at running back 39.
Yeah. Look, I'm staying away from Raheem Mostert in most drafts. Look, and this is truly just based off the fact that the 49ers are going to do the same thing they did last year, the same thing they did the year before, and they're going to have a running back by committee. They're going to run the hot hand, and if you think Raheem Mostert is going to be the locked and loaded starter all year, I just think you're sorely mistaken. I think Tevin Coleman is going to have some usage. I think Jared McKinnon is going to be in there on passing downs and have some serious usage. I have Jeff Wilson getting about 10% of the workload just because that happens every year. Jeff Wilson just sneaks in there.
Takes carries
away. They are low. They have a style of running back that works for them. The small jitterbug type of guy that can put one foot in the ground and zoom upfield, right? That's their entire backfield, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's interchangeable. I would say, and Raheem Mostert isn't. He's not so much better than Tevin Coleman, so much better than Jared McKinnon that I'm just sitting here saying, yeah, he's locked and loaded the RB1 for that team. Look, he is the RB1 based on my projections, but is split between 4 guys. 5 guys are in the running backs are getting some kind of production on my predictions. So it pushed them down a good bit. Yeah. But I still have the 49ers being the most productive running team in the NFL next year. So it's not like I'm down on the running. I want a running back for the 49ers. I just want one cheap and late.
I heard an analogy like it's their whole running back approach is like a grandfather clock. They have a bunch of cogs, and instead of having one really good one that you can run for 2 years, they have 6 that are interchangeable, if you will, and you can just keep that thing going back and forth, and you never miss a beat off of it because you're just swapping them in and out.
They traded Matt Burrito. They're not going to miss him at all. He went to Miami for a 5th round pick. They got a 5th round pick for free.
They had too many names.
Yeah, they get JaMychal Hasty in as an undrafted rookie who I think is going to produce a little bit first year, and I think moving forward he'll be a name to know. Yeah, it's just one of those guys. You can find that type of running back growing on trees out of college. They're going to be in that situation where they're probably never going to pay a running back big anymore after Jerick McKinnon's contract is over. They're probably never going to stick with a running back for too long because they don't need to. That's my prediction for 49ers moving forward.
All right, I will do the last one, and it's something that we have said till we are blue in the face. It comes in at running back 24 and running back 28. This is Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack in the Indianapolis Colts. Work share, we don't know. We're the minority who has a bunch of arguments with other people. Go along. You got it.
All right. So I posted this long thing on Twitter where I gave every reason I think that Jonathan Taylor is not going to be a high-end RB2, RB1 type of conversation, that I'm hearing a lot of people put him in that conversation. Jonathan Taylor is going to be in a running back by committee. Marlon Mack is still going to get carries. He's going to split carries with Jonathan Taylor, and Jonathan Taylor might win the job throughout the season. But here's a couple of things that need to be noted. First of all, Jonathan Taylor had a 16% drop rate at Wisconsin, right? Now granted, it's a small sample size. He had 50 targets, caught 42 of them, and I think it was 50 catchable balls is how the stat went. He caught 42 of them, so he had 16% drop rate. Not great. He had 33 snaps in his last season of Wisconsin last year where he was in pass protection. That's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking if you're having, and granted, they have a great offensive line. It's not going to be the end of the world. That's not a stat that really scares me, but it's definitely something that could keep him off the field early on if he's not up to date in his pass protection, right? I'm not saying he is or isn't. I'm just saying that's a stat to know. And last but not least, first of all, Marlon Mack has been productive, right? He's had over 1,000 yards in his past 2 years on the ground. And this is a guy who had 7.7 yards per catch in college, but has been utilized none in the passing game, right? I believe he has 31 receptions for 185 yards over the past 2 years in the passing game. So I don't understand any concept that puts Jonathan Taylor as any type of usage in the passing game. I don't have him. I have him having very low usage in the passing game, only because of the fact that Marlon Mack didn't do it, and we're considering Jonathan Taylor taking over that same role that Marlon Mack took. I don't think he's going to truly take over that role for Marlon Mack. I think that they're going to split the backfield anyway. So what that does is, I think Jonathan Taylor's more talented than Marlon Mack. I'm not saying he's not. I don't want to ever be put on the spot to say he's not. And I think if you're in a dynasty league, take Jonathan Taylor. Take him high, because Jonathan Taylor is going to be the starting running back in 2021. And it'll probably be Jonathan Taylor and a pass-catching back, whoever it is, doesn't matter. And that's going to be the case moving forward. But this year, Jonathan Taylor being drafted in the second round says more about Marlon Mack's value than it does about Jonathan Taylor's value. Look, and you can get on the train and get on the hype bus for Jonathan Taylor all day long. There is just too much risk taking him as a top-end running back in this league. And look, by the end of the year, he might have taken that job over, and he might even get 1,000 yards or anything. But if you're taking him to be your running back 2 at the beginning of a redraft league, you're going to struggle at the beginning of your season, because you're not going to have a great running back as your running back 2. It's just not going to happen. And I've seen people take him as RB1. And that's just ridiculous to me. And look, I've fought this till I'm blue in the face. I've said this a lot on the podcast, so I'm repeating myself too much, but I just don't see any way that Jonathan Taylor is going to be the clear RB1 on that team. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I'll reiterate a lot of what you said about that, because, like I said, both of us are in the minority. I would feel a lot of people. And my biggest thing, because I thought that I was playing it safe. I thought that I said Jonathan Taylor was my RB1 coming out. That was bold for me. I had it before the 40 too. I really like Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And I had a pipe dream that he could be this like Todd Gurley type of back, that he could just get the carries, do this, and he can. He has all the ability in the world to do that.
Yeah, nobody's discounting his ability.
Exactly, but all of us have to acknowledge that there are certain situations in the league that is one of the main outpoints behind where you get your points. If you don't get on the field, you can't get points as is, let alone if you're out there, like you said, to block or to do whatever the case may be. Marlon Mack is still alive. He's still on the team. And Frank Reich has come out and said that they're going to run the hot hand. Marlon Mack has been well known to have a hot hand. I saw somewhere on a fantasy sleeper that he had 2 50-yard runs in a scrimmage going head-to-head the other day. Yeah. Naheem Hines is the pass-catching back.
That's the other part of it, yeah.
We argue it all the time, over and over. I am not denying Jonathan Taylor the talent. If it's a dynasty, get him. If it's this year, get him in the 4th or 5th round. It's not bad.
Not at all.
But if you're going to expect him to lead your team to an RB1, it's not going to happen until at least week 5 and later. And by then, who knows what your record is? Who knows if you can actually do a push? Because you already jeopardized it.